Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. My name is Stacy Foster. I am a mentor with Texas United Realty. And today we are going to talk about some of the MLS rules that you need to remember when you're inputting data into the MLS. So we will get started, and the first one is the public remarks. On the public remarks, this is where we sell the house, updated, fabulous neighborhood. This is where we do the sizzle to the steak. We don't share information that should be private, such as showing instructions or any security codes to get into the property. This is also not for information that should be between agents, like don't let the cat out. Also, you should not be talking about any financing, any bonuses, anything financial at all. As far as photos go, on single family homes, multifamily, high-rise condos and leases, you have got to have 6 unique photos of each property listed in the MLS. And when I say unique, that means don't take 6 pictures of the front of the house and put it in there. They've got to be 6 different pictures. Lots of acreage, you've got to have at least 1 photo, and they've got to be inputted into the MLS within 10 days of your listing date. Invalid photograph and photograph descriptions. I thought this was interesting. I know it's tempting to do, but you cannot use photos from an old listing unless it's your own. So don't, if you do want to use some photos from an old listing, you have to have it in writing from the previous listing agent. Let's see, you only can put in the property and its grounds, but you can put in floor plans, elevations, artist renderings, but you have to have at least 1 photo of the actual property. No matter if the property is a vacant lot or partially built. Listing agreement required for all MLS listings. Do not put a property on the MLS without a signed listing agreement. You see this $1,000 fine? That's a lot of money. So please, when your seller is pushing you to sign, or I'm sorry, to get it on the MLS and you don't have it signed, you just tell them, hey, as soon as you get it signed, I will put it on the MLS. Listing in the wrong property class. You can only put a listing in 1 property class. So let's say you've got a single family home and it's in the country. You have got to determine if it goes in the country homes and acreage, or if it goes in single family homes. Most of the time it'll go in single family homes. But something that you do have to remember is you can't list personal property such as mobile homes in mobile home parks or manufactured homes where the land that the home sits on, because that is considered personal property. So it's got to be both the land and the home. On townhouse condominiums, any properties that are attached to another dwelling, they should be classified as townhome or condominiums. Residential lots, those usually are typically vacant sites without a home on it. The only time there's an exception to that is like if there's an old shack house on there that doesn't contribute to any of the total market value. Multifamily properties. You can put multifamily properties on the MLS only if they're less than 12 units. If you've got one that's got more than 12 units, congratulations. However, you cannot put it on the MLS. High-rise condominiums, these are condos that are located in a building, but it's got to be at least 4 or more stories. Okay, again, you cannot put them in more than one property class. The only exception to that is going to be homes that are both for sale and for lease. Agent remarks, private. This is the agent to agent remarks. This is usually where we, tell the other agents, don't let the cat out, or please turn off the lights, or, seller needs a 2-hour notice. What you cannot do is put in any items about the commission bonuses. You can't say, hey, look, this one's only got a 1% commission, so wink, wink, Anyway, also another thing that you cannot put in agent remarks is that any title company information. And the reason that they do that is because of wire fraud. We don't want the bad guys out there knowing which title companies that we use. Incorrect tax ID. You always auto-populate the tax ID. The system will do it for you. And if you'll just enter just the street name, don't enter road, street, drive, it will come up. If you're not sure about the address, you can always go to the US Postal Service and type in the address, and they will give you the correct information for the address for the home. Subdivision, you have got to put it in the whatever subdivision is on the tax rolls is what you need to put in the MLS. Okay, when you're putting in attachments, such as the seller's disclosure, you cannot put in there anything that's got names, phone numbers, email addresses, or title companies. The only thing that can go in there is the listing firm's name. What needs to go in public PDF files that cannot include seller's disclosures, contracts, or any personal or confidential information. So typically, you would not also not put in remarks that are related, like cashback at closing, bonus, upgraded incentives, etc. But you can put in floor plans, amenities, or talk about the neighborhood. School districts. School districts are very important, obviously. And if you will, when you're entering, it will typically auto-populate. But I always check the other listings, close by to the home and make sure that it does look right. And if it doesn't look right, pick up the phone and call the school and give them the address, and they'll be happy to help you. Okay, showing without an appointment. This is a big no-no. You have got to have listing agents' permission to enter a home. It's really, there's nothing more embarrassing than walking into a home and having the homeowner there not expecting you. And it is Texas, so you think bad things could happen. So, but look here, $1,000 fine. So make sure that you have always made an appointment. Okay, driving directions. A lot of us, of course, just use our GPS, but you can't put in see agent or see key map or use your GPS. You need to give, concise directions. And if possible, you always start from your directions from a major highway. Invalid open house. If for some strange reason the seller's not going to let people into their house, do not hold it open. Virtual tours, you cannot put any contact information into your virtual tours. You can't give your name, your phone number, your email address. All that can go in there is the name of your broker. This is one estimated closing date in the past. This is one that I am guilty of. I'll be the first one to tell you. But as soon as the property closes, you need to get it into the MLS and change it to closed. When you see, a lot of times we forget, closings do get delayed all the time, but you do need to remember to change the closing date. Inaccurate room dimensions. You cannot, if you don't have the dimensions, don't put it active until you do. You can't put in, the room is 1 by 1 or 0 by 0. And if you're in question, I always go back to the previous listing and verify the dimensions from there. Here we go again. If when your property goes into pending or sold, you have got to, actually you've got 3 days from the actual closing to get it in there. Improper withdrawal of listings. I know y'all have seen this before, where agents go in and they will terminate it on the MLS and then turn around and put it back as active, thinking that everybody's going to be fooled into thinking that it's a new listing. That is definitely against the rules. Wrong selling agent. I've run across this a lot lately. For some reason, listing agents like to put that they also sold the property. That is definitely a no-no. And you need to fight for them to give you the credit, because that does show up on the HAR website as a sale for you. So it is important. And if they do that and they won't cooperate, you can always go to HAR and HAR will have a little chat with them. Obviously, false or misleading info. There's no reason to do that. And that includes manufactured homes, again, when the land is not included with the sale. When you do get a listing and the listing date is, the first, you've got 3 days to get that into the MLS. Okay, here's 2 big ones. The first is private ID sharing. So when you're down in Acapulco enjoying, your latest commission, do not give your clients access to the MLS by giving your private ID. That is a big fine here, $500 or $1,000. So please don't ever give that out. Another big one, and I've seen people do it many times, is do not share your Supra e-key. It's dangerous, and you should not do it. First time, if you get caught, first time is $500. Second time is $1,000. And if they catch you a third time, no more e-key for you. And it's real hard to be a realtor without a Supra key. Okay, so those, if you'll follow those rules, you will not get one of these. And this is what happens when you don't follow the rules. Not only do you get it, but our broker, Rick Rogers, also gets a copy of it. Do not mess around with these. Make the correction as soon as possible, or you'll get a fine and you'll have to pay that fine. So that concludes talking about things to remember when you're putting your new listings into the MLS. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your mentors. I'm always available too. My name is Stacy Foster. I can be reached at 713-705-7837. and have a great day and go list some houses.